Welcome to step 4 of the 7 Steps Exhibition Success with Stephen Murtagh, the exhibition guy. Really looking forward to this particular module. It's on the whole area of stand design. Now, we've spoken about it before, how important it is for engaging at exhibitions, and we're going to cover that more in module 6. But when it comes to our actual stand design, it really does matter how we appear at a trade show and how our stand appears. It doesn't mean we have to have the biggest stand of the show or the most impressive stand of the show, but the design that we use and the functionality and practicality of what we do at an exhibition really, really does matter. And when it comes to stand design, we talk about the key areas, and there's 5 key areas of good stand design. I'm going to go through these individually, but just to look at them, the 5 elements of what makes good stand design. And the first one we talk about is simplicity. It's about keeping it simple. And like I say, we're going to talk about these individually over the next couple of slides. The second area we look at is lighting and how important lighting is for our stand. Thirdly, we look at the whole idea of how much floor space do we need to have free for visitors to be able to feel comfortable and have access to walk onto our stand. Really, really important. Number 4 we talk about is having one clear message, not confusing our visitors with what we do or what we don't do. And lastly, we talk about the idea of color. What kind of colors do we use to really gain that impact when we exhibit? Now, why I'm really this is such an important session is because there is a statistic in the exhibition industry. You have 4 seconds to make an impression when you exhibit at an exhibition. A visitor will decide within 4 seconds if they're going to stop in your stand as they walk down the aisle of an exhibition. Now, of course, our people are fundamentally the most important and how their body language is, but the stand design and stand itself plays a really important part as well. And we're going to look at these. So let's look at these individually. So we talk about the first idea, simplicity, keeping our stand simple, not having too much information, too much clutter or whatever it might be, keeping the design nice and simple. If we have a hero product, our main showcase product, we put that in the middle of the stand and we focus on that. But it's about keeping clean lines, keeping it simple. Again, so the visitor doesn't get completely overwhelmed with the amount of product on the stand or all different colors. Where the idea is to keep it as simple as possible. Ideally using maybe 2-3 colors, maybe having 1 or 2 plinths with products and services on them, depending on what you sell, obviously, but really keeping it simple. Less is more. So think about, what are you bringing to an exhibition normally that you don't need to bring? What are we really trying to focus on? And when we do that, it forces us to be looking at the simple approach and keeping it simple, because that's what works when you exhibit. Secondly, we talk about this idea of lighting. If you have an interior designer comes into your house, one of the first things they'd say to you is you need to have good lighting. It's no different when you exhibit. And again, it doesn't mean you have to have a massively big stand or have 25 spotlights, but you need to focus your lighting on where it matters. Focusing on the message or the product or whatever it might be, and actually thinking about where is the logic for the lighting. What do I want to light up? And what do I want in the background? But lighting is very, very important. And we got to think about what kind of lighting we're using and what products and services we want to highlight. So think about the lighting that you use in stand are very, very important. The next area we cover when we talk about stand design, a really important one, is how much floor space do we have free for visitor access? 60%. 60% of your floor space should be free for visitor access. This makes it comfortable and easier for people to walk onto your stand. They're not running in and around tables and there's not lots of furniture in the way. It needs to feel comfortable. They need to feel engaged that they can walk onto your stand. So keeping 60% of your floor space free for visitor access is really, really important. The next area we talk about in terms of effective and really good stand design is about having one clear message. You're telling people what you do. You're not trying to be overly clever with what you do. You're highlighting what you do so people go, that's what he does, or that's what they do, and that's what I need. So it's about having one clear message about the products and services or the product or service that you sell, and make it really, really obvious. I've picked this particular example because obviously it's great British food, and it's about food. So it's very specific towards a British food market. And that's what we need to do when we exhibit is we need to be very clear about what we're trying to sell. What is our message? One clear message works best. And the last area of good stand design that I would recommend is the use of color. If you Google color on Google, obviously, it'll tell you a huge amount about what individual colors say about a business, how that business is perceived. So color is really, really important. Now, I appreciate many of you will have company logos that will have colors and things like that on it, that you will stick with those colors. But it's about picking the right colors to engage the eye, to be attractive to the eye. And when you do that and use those vibrant colors, people notice them. We want them to notice your stand. We also want them, obviously, to notice your people. But it's really important that we think about the colors that we're using in our marketing. And when we do that, we enable ourselves to really focus on how do we want to be perceived at CONFEX. And that's a really, really important message. So when we take those fundamentally and look at those and think, what do we need to do to either improve or design our stand that's really going to be eye-catching? We do that combined with our people to create a really good effect. Unfortunately, as night follows day, you're going to have bad stand design. And really, bad stand design comes down to one word: complexity, making things too complicated. Now, of course, there are individual areas, but let me give you some examples. When we talk about complex stands, let's look at the traits of what I would call ineffective or bad stand design. We talk about the first one. We talk about clutter. We talk about lots of clutter on the stand, lots of products on the stand, boxes here, boxes there, brochures there, too much clutter. What does it say about your company? What does it say about your business? Let's keep things simple. Secondly, we talk about the unfinished look. We're going to look at an example of that in a moment, where your stand isn't finished on opening day. Cardinal sin in the exhibition industry. Then we talk about the obstacle course, having way too much product on your stand. And finally, we talk about TMI, too much information on our graphics. Graphics that we spend lots of money on investing in these graphics, but unfortunately will not be read because there's too much information on them. So let's look at these individually. So we talk about the first one. We talk about this idea of clutter, of walking onto a stand. Again, I've picked this particular picture as an example. In reality, it was quite a good stand. But why I've picked this example is on a small stand, we have 3 chairs, 2 counters, and a pillar on the corner. Now, I appreciate the pillar on the corner has to be there, and maybe we need a counter, but do we need 3 chairs on a small stand? Because all it's doing is encouraging your team to sit down. And we can't engage with people sitting down. We engage with people face-to-face, eye-to-eye level. So for me, the idea is to ditch the furniture or get rid of as much furniture as you can and keep it simple. We don't want to have too much clutter on the stand. The second area in terms of ineffective stand design we talk about is this unfinished look, where we're panicking to get our stand finished before the show opens. That doesn't work. And because if you think about it logically, the person and the people who are queuing up at the front door of CONFEX are the people who are genuinely most interested. And if they come in and see a stand that's unfinished, it doesn't say good things about your business. And what I'd say is my aim for you to suggest to you is to finish your stand 2, if not 3 hours before the doors open. It'll also give you more time to relax. Be focused on what you really want to do during the event itself. And I use this example in this picture here. And every time I use this, people say to me, oh, that's during the build-up of the show. It's actually not. The chap on the right-hand side is the owner of the business. And the 2 chaps on the left-hand side are visitors. And there's cables on the floor, there's ladders, there's lighting on the ground, all the things that say, we're not ready for you. It's really important we finish our stand 2 to 3 hours before the show opens. The next negative or ineffective when it comes to stand design we talk about is the obstacle course. Is having too many things in the way. Having things that are freestanding that just might fall over. And it's not a criticism, it's more a reality. If people have a reason not to stop at your stand, they won't stop at your stand. Let's make it easy. Let's make them want to stop. So let's not have lots of freestanding units that are potential hazards, and think about the actual stand design that works for your clients. And the last one we talk about is this idea of TMI, too much information. And an example I'm going to use here of a very, very good company and a very big company, but the graphics are everywhere. The graphics aren't aligned properly. There's lots of color, and the color is great, by the way, and the images are strong, but there's way too much text. People simply aren't going to read that. So when it comes to designing your graphics, I'm saying less is more. Of course, there's relevant things you need for them to see, but your graphics should be readable and visible from 15 to 20 feet away. And that readable piece is very, very important. If you have email addresses and websites and things like that, I don't suggest putting them all on your graphics because they won't be read. But again, what I'm seeing quite a lot recently is people using QR codes. I know it sounds very old school, but a QR code on a graphic, because people are curious. They do like to go to another place and then get your QR code and where it will bring them. And maybe that's your opportunity for more lead gen. So we need to think about simplifying our graphics, making them readable and visible from 15 to 20 feet away so that they have maximum effect. And that's really, really critical. And it's very, very important in stand design that we think about our customer. We don't think about ourselves. So my tip number 4 is with regards to effective stand design. Think about what works. Think about what's going to work for your customer. Think about what's comfortable, what's more likely that they're going to stop. And we talk about this idea of about less is more. 60% of your floor space free for visitor access, and your graphics should be readable and visible from 15 to 20 feet away. And this is something we need to think about. We need to set ourselves a deadline on our stand design. I put down your stand design as the 18th of August as a suggestion, because that's going to give you time to say, well, do we need to tweak things? Do we need to modify things? Because that's what we need to do. We need to go to CONFEX with our best foot forward, looking the best and delivering the best value for our customers and visitors to the show. I hope that tip is of some help, and we'll see you on session 5.